Welcome to Retrained Search, the podcast, where we lift the lid on what it's really like to work retained, discuss the stories we've gathered along the way, and give you all a peek behind the scenes of our amazing community and how they're getting ahead. Well, welcome everybody. Nice to have you here, Claire. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I can't believe I'm in a podcast with the Louise Archer and the Jordan Taylor.
No, we can't believe
I think you're being quite kind.
Superstars in my eyes.
We're very excited to talk to you, Claire, because we're showing you folks today, or rather telling you about, for those of you that aren't watching and listening, a little look behind the curtain at Retrained Search. And Claire is one of those, not always behind the curtain, because you do put yourself out there a little bit, being the drama expert that you are.
Try to.
It was like you just drew the curtains.
I know, yeah, it's my hair, isn't it? Like a 90s boy. Some people would be far too young.
And we've got lots of things to share with you about what happens behind the curtains. But first, George, how are you? I haven't kind of seen you properly since the last time we recorded a podcast.
I'm busy. Very, very busy. Very busy, but in a good way. And then, G is growing up very fast. Last night, she spent her first night in her own room, on her own, in her own cot.
Oh.
She did.
How do you feel about that?
I'm all right. I think, do you know what? We hadn't really planned it. It just kind of happened, which I think made it easier. Becca was probably a little more emotional than me, but she started up like in the middle of the cot, like as you'd expect. Don't know whether you'll be able to see this, in the middle of the cot. And then I looked on the camera at 10 to 6 this morning. I don't know if you can see her there.
You're rolled away there.
Don't know how she got there.
Looks like a pillow.
Yeah, she does. So she seemed comfy. She was settled. She slept well. So all good.
Oh, well done. You're such a good parent, George.
You are.
I'm in the easy bit at the moment. Wait till she's running around and giving me back chat. Let's see how good I am there. When I've got to practice my objection handling with a 3-year-old.
Shall I tell you what I did with my daughter at the weekend?
Yes.
I gave her first driving lesson.
Oh, nice.
In the snow?
Yeah.
Oh, baptism of fire. Nothing better.
I know, why not? Might as well learn in adverse conditions. Makes you better all round, doesn't it? Yeah, I was a bit scared because she hasn't ever sat in the driver's seat of a car, and you feel a bit powerless sitting in the passenger seat. And it's only quite a small space. There was a big barn at one end, and then a fence and a gate, and then just a drop on the other side. So we didn't actually have that much room for her to go forward. So we went through how to brake lots of times before we turned.
Which is an important part of driving, right?
Yeah.
Like learning to brake is pretty critical.
Yeah. She did well. She did really well. I'm excited and also very, very nervous. You've got all that to come. You've got a while yet. But
well, it was funny. I was on one of the collab calls and Jess Biller was on there. Our regular listeners will know Jess. He was on the podcast a month or two back. And Jess was just kind of saying to everyone last night how proud he was yesterday because his daughter has been in his business now for about 3 years and was recently promoted into a VP position in Jess's firm. And he said yesterday he dropped her off at the airport. She was going, I think, to Boston.
DC.
DC, Washington, wasn't it? Yeah, Washington, DC, yeah, for the first time kind of on her own to work alongside a client and doing interviewing and how proud he was. And I said, God, how far have I got to go on this journey? Because you're dropping your daughter off on her own to go and interview people for a client, and I'm pureeing vegetables.
Oh, there is so much.
There is so much. Always so much more. What were you up to with your boys, Claire?
This weekend? I had a really nice wholesome weekend with them actually. Played board games and stuff like that because Ben had a friend who came over from the UK to stay with us. Oh, so nice. He was down in Palma and in the port having a jolly old time. And so I just took the boys for like ice creams and we walked up steps in our local town, which is a nice thing to do. And yeah, it was just really wholesome. I cooked homemade food.
You're a good one. Nice part of the world to live in. I love it.
Not half.
Yeah.
I don't think you were about on Wednesday morning, Lee, when Claire came onto our team meeting with the pool in the background. I very quickly told her where to go, and Sarah turned her video off.
Yeah, no, can I just say, I was saying how cold it is in the house, and they were like, oh, is it not very nice out? And I was like, no, it's lovely outside. Showed them, and they're
welcome to my world, stone
I
houses.
know,
It's like
I
living in a
know.
bloody fridge.
Yeah.
And there's been lots of exciting stuff happen in the
There
community,
is.
hasn't there?
There is.
Always.
Can you see that? Am I sharing my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
So tell us about this one, if you will, George.
Yeah, Katie, she's flying, honestly. Like, Katie joined us and had done no retained revenue, I don't think, at all. Maybe the odd bit, but it certainly wasn't a consistent part of her business. And it seems like every other day she's putting a win in there about another project. She's won this one, just won a multi-hire retainer, 6 positions. Question around pricing model. She said she's charging 30% engagement, 30% when interviews are scheduled. 40% on appointment, and we're just asking how she calculates the kind of total fee and split it accordingly. But like, it makes me laugh just how flippant the message is, having just won a retained 6-position project.
Yeah, very nice.
So good. So good.
Oh, this is a nice one as well. I finished a coaching session with Baz last week, and he dropped me a quick note to say, thanks for your kind and encouraging words. I'm sure you know this already, but it genuinely helps enormously. What you and the big guy are doing.
Who's that? Who's the big guy?
Don't know if I can't back on. Think who that was. And I can't wait to start implementing it and winning those searches. Have a great rest of the week and weekend. He's going to do great.
Yes.
What about this one?
Yeah, Jason. I mean, they're just flying, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, they are.
Absolutely flying. They're kind of an I was going to say an OG, which to me is original gangster. What we found out last week is to Lou. What does OG mean to you?
Is that not right? Is it not old guys?
Old guys? Old guys, I think you said. I was like, no, it's not quite right, Lou. Close enough. So when I say they're an OG, mean original gangster, not old. Yeah, he said they just landed a 3-hire project, medical director, VP of engineering, product manager, 150K in fees, just received the first 55K to kick it off. Nice. Really nice.
Another one, non-specialist retainer one. So I quite like this one. So I pitched
this is Katie again, by the way, who we just talked about.
This isn't in my specialism, and I've won it. I won't lie, I'm slightly shocked as I know I was up against 2 other firms with specialist divisions. So I'm feeling delighted. The pitch training works, and I've got a partner I can collaborate on this search mandate. So it's all systems go. It's so nice. It's so nice to see a little bright sunshine at the end of that one too. And this one, Louise, what do you know about this one, George? Yeah,
Director of Operations, regional fast food company in the Carolinas. Helped massively as they gain traction in the food and beverage hospitality sector. I think that's like the 3rd win we've posted in 3 podcasts in a row for Louise. So I mean, it just shows, doesn't it? Sometimes the first one's the hardest to win, and then
they start to come, don't they? This is another like repeat winner as well. Mark just won 2 chunky searches for a new client. It's taken a while to get this next project over the line. Brand new client. I've been coursing since I sent cold turkey back in September last year. So new prospect from scratch. Thanks for all the support, Lou and Jordan. You're welcome, Mark. You are welcome. Oh, and Tracy, she's doing so well now. 2 more searches won. I'm so delighted for Tracy because she was so nervous, wasn't she? And she was so like not sure and not wanting to.
She's so diligent though as well. Like she's there every week on the coaching call. She contributes. She helps other people. So
she really
deserves all the success.
Her pitch is so good. I see her in the pitch coaching. She comes probably every other week now, and she just runs through it, and it's so good. It's so relaxed. It's so natural. It's so calm. It's so assured. It's just, I'm not surprised that she's winning regularly now. She says 2 more searches, won, same client. It's the first, but really pleased. Next target is to get on with a new client. Yeah, she's doing brilliant because her biggest fear was converting existing clients, so she's done that first.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's been so nice as well because I think as the podcast grows, Like we've gone, from like 1 or 2 listeners to 3 or 4 listeners now. And as the podcast grows and I have more and more calls with people that say, "I'll listen to your podcast," it's so nice for me to be able to say, I worry sometimes that people think the wins were posted are bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to just be able to show them in the community and go, "Look, here's the wins. This is the past week.
Yeah.
I'm not encouraging this. They're just sharing it with us." It's amazing.
Yeah, I basically every week we've just been through it 5 minutes. We just go into the folder where Emma very kindly screenshots them for us and just puts them in, and we go, "Oh yeah, there's that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one," and like they come from, well, you if you join us. So yeah, that's exactly where they come from. We don't need to make them up. They are real, and they're for the most part people that are either not confident with retained or have never ever done it
They
before.
are. Yes, they are.
Okay, cool. And what have you been helping people with this week, George?
Lots of things, but actually, I was thinking last night, right? We had a new member join us last night, finished the call, and she was like, "I'm all in. Yeah, I want to do this." She signed up on the spot, and I spent an hour with her, really, just trying to show her that she can do this. And it got me thinking about the journey that people go on. And this ties probably quite nicely into Clare being with us today as well, in terms of customer success. And we often talk, I think, on the podcast about the practical things that we help people with, the pitch that we give them, and the script, and the materials, and all of that good stuff. And that's really important. But I think the other thing we really give people is confidence to go out there and do it.
Yeah.
And to genuinely believe that they can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things. Sorry, it's a bit mushy, the whole idea of confidence. But it's so important. And Christina, who I spoke to last night, is going to be incredible. And the reason she's going to be incredible is because she truly cares about her customers.
Yes, she does.
That's what's driving this for her, is wanting to do a great job for her customers. And there's a bit of apprehension around, can she position it and will they buy it off her? And she doesn't see herself as the best salesperson. But I can guarantee you, when we give her the confidence and a bit of the knowledge and a tweak here and there.
That's what Tracy was like, though, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's exactly what Tracy was like. And look at her now. So yeah, we know that we can give people that. And a big part of us giving people that is you, my lovely Claire. Our lovely Claire, I should say.
I never called you up.
Unlucky.
We would love to let everybody find out more about what happens behind the scenes. Tell us about what you do, Claire, if you will.
Oh, it's a very good question. So there's lots of things that I get involved in, but I guess the most predominant part of my role within the organisation is community management / nurture. So when I first meet people and onboard them into our community, what I typically tell them is that it is my job to make sure that they have got everything they need, or that they can find everything and they know where everything is, in order to be successful with the course and meet the objectives that they set out for themselves. Because everybody wants something slightly different from this course. I think we all know that. When we speak to them initially, you'll have a call with them, and then when they eventually buy the course, I will say to them, "So what is it you're looking to get from this? How are you operating at the moment? What do you actually want to achieve as a result?" Some people, are already operating at 20% retained and they want to get to 100%. Some people who don't even know what a retainer is really. They know that there's a bit of money involved and they're keen for it, but they're not actually sure what it involves. And so, yes, they need the confidence, they need the education, they need all of it. And so then it's my job to check in with them, to help them to access the community, to make sure that they are coming to the coaching sessions, because it's so interesting. And I don't know how widely this is kind of spoken of on this particular podcast, but there's so much for them to access in terms of one-to-one. I mean, it's group, but they've got one-to-one time with you guys
like 4 times
like
a week.
4 times a week. And it's about making sure that A, they know that, and B, keeping them accountable to go towards that, and then kind of tracking their journey through it, checking in. Are you okay? Do you need anything? Replying to people in the community, touching base with our members, and also just making sure, I suppose to your point, Jordan, so I don't do collab calls and things like that, but motivating them. If I'm having one-to-one calls with our members, making sure they know they can do this, it's completely within their reach.
And what do you see, like what, because you see the people that do really well, you see the people that don't, like what do you see? What kind of patterns and trends?
It's very simple. There's a golden thread that runs throughout Retrain Search, and that is when people join, especially if they from the get-go post into the community, introduce themselves, come to the launch calls with me, and then they follow that through and join the live coaching sessions, they are the individuals that see success most quickly from this course and see the most financial reward from it. And I think are less likely to sort of slip back into contingency at any point in the future because they see the value in it, both for themselves, but I think, for their clients. And that's the key part. When they go through that mindset piece that we take them through, quite often, I think that at that stage, they think the only benefit of working retained is to them. But what they come out of that mindset piece seeing is that actually there's a huge benefit to their client, and they can use so much of what they learn there to inform the conversations that they then have moving forwards with their clients. And I see a massive shift, just after module 1 with people that I have conversations with.
And tell everyone like how, well, what I suppose I want to share with people is this. You're quite passionate about this, aren't you? I think you're being quite restrained today.
I'm quite passionate.
But you see the outcome, don't you? Because you do all the testimonials, of course,
absolutely.
which you do a beautiful job of having chats with people over Zoom and asking them to share their experience of the course. And you get, your team are responsible for capturing the wins every week and putting them in. So you see everything. And all the good things that it does. But that's not this isn't where it started for you, is it?
No.
Would you mind sharing kind of the journey of how you've come to be doing this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm what I think Jordan would refer to as a failed agency recruiter. Is that right, Jordan? So I spent a year...
agency recruiters across the world gunning for
I'm definitely failed. Well, no, you're going to maybe internal. So I spent a year working as a contingent recruiter in the very glamorous world of pensions and compliance, recruiting for East Anglia from Birmingham. Ideal.
Sexy.
For those of you who don't know, Birmingham's in the middle of the UK. East Anglia is right on the cusp. It was a logistical nightmare. Anyway, I did that for a year, and I'll be the first to admit that I'm not a natural salesperson. But what I really enjoyed was those client relationships, and so I jumped ship. That's what I did. And then I went and I spent about 14 years working in-house at international law firms, recruiting lawyers, and that would be anything from kind of junior lawyers all the way up to senior partners, board level. And I would never work with anybody on a retained basis unless it was at that really senior level, and it was the Shreks, or definitely what I would do at the time. I was that internal recruiter when someone would come and try and get me to work on a retainer that would go, look, hey, just going to stop you there. No, thank you. I don't want to buy your retainer. Can you send me some more CVs? Yeah. That was
I'm trying to refrain from going into objection handling mode here, Claire.
I honestly apologise
for a minute.
I apologise to people in launch calls, and I said that was me. Sorry about that. But I said the good news for you is nobody had ever been through this course. And yeah, so I did that. And then after I'd had children, I worked as a VA for a bit. And I actually worked for some recruiters, one of which I was working for, and I was doing some social media stuff for them, writing things, doing this, that, and the other. And they said, "Oh, we've got some training booked in. Would you just come and sit in on it so that we can get some content for our social media?" No problem. Of course I will. I'd be delighted. So I sat in on it, and who should walk through the door but Louise Archer? And room full of mainly men, you know, proper recruiters, quite laddie, you know, we all know the type, no offence to anyone. And that's a hard audience, I personally think, to go up against in, you know, especially a live scenario. And Louise delivered the course for the day, or kind of the first mindset module, essentially.
Yeah, it was the first module.
Yeah. And you know, as we walked out of that room, jaws were on the floor, quite frankly. There were pennies dropping left, right, and centre with people. And the conversation in the office afterwards was just like everybody's mind was completely blown. Like, oh my God, she's lifted the lid on this. I think it's something that we can do. And then Louise came back to do some more, and we got talking, and then that's where this kind of relationship evolved. And Louise said, "Oh, well, I'd really like to get my course online." And this is just
well, I think it was a bit different. I remember it slightly different. No, not sorry to jump in there. I remember sitting down, and you came and sat with me, I think, while I had
yes, we were doing like a
lunch.
deck or something.
And yeah, I think you said, "Oh, my husband's a videographer," and
yes, I did.
You might have said, "Had you thought about like?"
I feel like maybe I am a salesperson. Maybe I am.
When you said that before, I was going to say, when you said I am not a natural salesperson, I was going to say,
I would beg
which is what every natural salesperson says.
Yeah. Well, anyway, and you were like, yeah. And then
I was like, "Oh, well, I had kind of been thinking about that actually." And then
and then like 3 days later, we said, "Okay, what date? Come and see us." And this is the other thing. So many people say they're going to do something. I would say 95% of people do not follow through with that. But like 3 days later, you came to, Ben and I had a little office at the time, and Louise came and we sat down, we discussed what she wanted. It was like, right, okay, let's book in the first. Okay, what do we need to do? And we made a plan. We needed to get everything transcribed, and there was so much work to do. And then COVID hit, and it seemed like the perfect time.
Yeah, COVID.
And it was just all action stations, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, I remember like surreptitiously, like we weren't supposed to be together, I don't think, when we were like filming things. And
hang on. What was that word?
Surreptitiously.
What?
Is that a new word for you, George?
Oh, absolutely. What does that mean?
Surreptitiously.
Yes.
Claire, would you like to say?
The dictionary definition I'm not very good at, like sneakily, like as in we shouldn't have been doing it under the
without people knowing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I thought Claire would be on board with me, not knowing what it means, and you both went, yeah.
No, I'm a word person, Jordan.
It's literary. So we were doing that, but it was all born because of that chance meeting, really, and then COVID hitting, and we suddenly had the time to be able to record it. So if it wasn't for that, the only people that would see and get to experience what we do would be the people that we could geographically actually get to, and we wouldn't be able to reach the audiences that we do. And now, you know, we have people all over the world, don't we? From all corners of the world. In Latvia's our newest members in Latvia.
32 countries now.
No way.
Countries,
and also we're all over the world as a team, and that wouldn't have been possible probably, beforehand as well. So I think that's also, a massive thing.
It's very fortuitous meeting.
It's very fortuitous. And even at that point, I didn't start working with you for a little while longer, but we just kind of kept in together. And then I sort of came on board.
You could really do someone doing this. And I was like, yes, I could.
I was about to say we're very lucky, but I think more importantly, our members are very lucky because what I see go into them being successful is it's like a cocktail of certain things. So yeah, there's a lot of knowledge and there's a lot of confidence as we've discussed. But this is a huge habit change. And I mean this in the best possible way. You're like the mum of the group. Like
No.
sometimes they need a kick up the arse, and sometimes they need a bit of a cuddle and a bit of support and encouragement. And you give them everything that they need and on that journey to motivate and drive and encourage and tell them off and everything they need.
Yeah, you do. And you're so
It's
patient and you're so helpful and you're endlessly just, no problem. Yeah, I can help you with that, even though it's like the 65th time you've been asked that question that day. And you just endlessly provide that love and that encouragement and that kind of soft landing for everybody. And because you see the outcome, because you're there right at the end, you were there right at the beginning when they come in, and you're there all the way through, and right at the end when they're saying, I'm done, and this is what it's done for my business. When people say, how do I make the most of it? You know the answer to that. You know exactly what they need to do, and
That's
you
so
are there
true.
like telling them all the way along. It's brilliant.
And what I've sort of said to people quite recently, for me, so when we have people join the course, we kind of say, look, you can complete it in any which way that you like, but actually we set out a schedule for you that goes over 8 weeks, and then you've got support thereafter. What I typically say to people is it's almost a bit like when you pass your driving test. In those first 8 weeks, it's kind of like all of the theory to get you to pass your driving test. Yeah. So you've been through the whole course and you've got everything that you need. It's not really until that point that you kind of like learn how to kind of do it for yourself. And that's the point, especially where you need those collab calls, that you need those drop-in pitch coaching sessions, because although you've got the theory and you have practiced, now you're going out to these real life clients and you know that there's going to be a bit of a slippery fish out there who's going to have loads of objections. Well, use Jordan, because Jordan's the objection handling man. There's nothing that he can't overcome, is what I really say to people. Whether it's true.
Can I trademark the big guy and the objection handling man? You're so right, because two weeks after I passed my driving test, I crashed in McDonald's car park and went to buy a strawberry milkshake.
And that's because you didn't have anyone on hand, wasn't it?
Correct.
Talk to them about it. Say, excuse me.
Correct.
I'm in a bit of a sticky
right.
wicket here, not sure whether to go backwards or forwards. And yet the people on our course have got that, like they have it. They've got that safety net there of, their driving instructor, if you like, still managing them.
And it's important as well, I think, that sometimes the people that we have go through the course, I suppose, are, small operations, right? Some of them are solo recruiters that work for themselves. And sometimes there are bigger firms that put teams through it.
Yeah.
It's important they have not a mini Clare in their team, I think, offline to support them on this journey.
So true.
Any of you listening try to poach our Clare, I will find you.
Yeah. And also you won't get anyone much more mini than me. So I'm only 5 foot.
Yeah. But we're putting together it's about to launch and implement a module based effectively, really, I suppose, Clare, on the work that you do.
Yeah, all the work that we all do. Because so there's a golden thread, I think, that runs through the community and our successful, our most successful members and the people who do really well. But actually, there's a golden thread that runs through our team, and that is a huge amount of passion, care, support, love, knowing when to challenge people in the right way and say, well, come on, you've paid for this. Let's get you going with it, because we know that everything's there for you to achieve. So, but yes, absolutely. The implementer module, I think, will be a game changer for teams of people.
Yeah, I mean, already we've got to the stage, having been doing this now for a little while, and it's come a long way since that first version that you and I first kind of scripted and filmed. And it's got to a stage where you've got to be pretty stupid not to do well with it, right? Okay, it takes a little bit more diligence to do, exceptionally well with it, but not much.
No.
Like, it's not that difficult. It is as easy as it possibly can be, and we hold your hand and we tell you exactly what to do, and we love you and we cuddle you and we kick you when you need it and all that kind of stuff. But we are just even more improving that by putting another piece in for the teams that need that little bit of extra support internally, and just giving them the help of how to be a mini Claire internally for your team. And you're just uploading it at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, it's ready. Yeah, it's just ready for review now. It's all there.
It isn't easy, is it? I mean, I say to people when they're looking to join the course, this takes a lot of investment, right? Firstly, there's financial investment. I almost see that as the easiest part, but it takes emotional investment. It takes
and trust. Like, you need to go
trust and
this is
time.
Going to work. I'm going to do it. Yeah.
And no matter how committed you are, right? I've talked on podcasts over the past couple of months that I'm trying to lose at the moment, right? And I'm really invested in that, right? I'm doing it because I want to get healthy for my daughter and the family. I'm really invested, but still not always, no matter how invested I am, sometimes you make bad decisions, and it's not easy to say, no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to go to the gym tonight when I really don't want to. And that's the exact support that people need on this journey, to say
help that we give you. Yeah.
Don't fall back into that trap. Make the difficult decision. Bit of short-term pain for long-term gain.
Yeah.
So important.
Exactly. So that's Claire is how we do that. Claire it leads the team, the customer success team, that makes sure that everybody gets what they want and gets to where they want to go, and you put your heart and soul into that. And we all do, but that is that's your bag, isn't it?
It is definitely my bag. I'm incredibly passionate about it and making sure that everybody feels supported as an individual. And I think, as a business, I think that we all do that really well as well, because, well, I would say I know the name of everybody who is, a member in our community, and there's lots of them, and that's a really lovely thing.
You have a better memory than me and Lou.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
You do.
We know I know what their pitches are like, and whether they're any good at handling objections or not. So we wanted to leave you today with a little piece that we kind of touched on earlier, and that's confidence. And I wanted to share with you kind of verbally what I saw recently on social media, and that was a girl. She's walking on like a treadmill, but it's as if she's walking on a catwalk, right? And she's a youngish girl, I don't know, late teens. She's got long dark hair, and she's kind of looking down, and she's wearing black clothes, and she's walking on the treadmill, and she's sort of adjusting her clothing around her waist and looking down, and she sort of looks up, and there's a kind of half smile, and she's sort of not a little bit kind of hunched over a little bit. She looks nervous, she looks shy, she looks a little bit uncomfortable, but nice and timid. And then a few seconds later, she walks about 10 steps like that, and then a few seconds later she takes a step and she lifts her head, and then she puts her shoulders back, and then she leans back slightly, and then she smiles, and her face opens up, and her hair just naturally falls a bit further away from her face, and then she walks about 10 steps like this, and literally she looks like a different person. It's unbelievable, just the change in confidence and stance and the impact that it has on you as a viewer and the person that you perceive her to be. And we were talking about it this morning because we're coming over to Australia, and one of our good friends, Ez, is going to do a piece on soft skills in that workshop that we're building. But how important and how much of a difference that confidence gives you in your approach to clients, in your pitching, in your objection handling, and how we help you nurture that. And that can be one of the biggest things that we give you. Yes, we give you the tools, and yes, we give you the processes, but giving you that confidence is what so many people, you hear them in the testimonials, don't you, Claire?
Oh my God, testimonials. When I speak to people, when they're just like, I just never had the confidence to do it before because I didn't really know what I was doing. Now I've just got the confidence, so I'm just not going to work contingently. I'm just not going to do it.
Or balls. I think one of the women said it gave me the balls to do it, didn't it? Which is same thing. I mean, masculine phrase, but there you go. But that
if it works, it works.
It does. It makes a huge difference. Oh, does it?
I mean, the balls big.
Oh, right. Because you've only got one.
What can you do? Answer,
sorry,
bastard.
baby.
It's all right. It's all right. The other one's working.
It makes you though. It makes you.
Hey, I'm unique. I've always said, you know what? Now when you go to these events and people say, we're going to go around the table and say something unique about yourself, I always used to think, look, now what am I going to say?
Do
There's
you
nothing
not
unique
say
about me. I want to see the face when I tell them I've got one ball. That's unique. I'm the only one saying that.
And on that note,
that?
thank you very much for joining us, Claire, and for sharing
Thank
that
you,
little
Claire.
look behind the curtain of what happens behind the
you.
scenes at Retrain Search. It's been an absolute delight and a
Thank
pleasure.
you so much for having me. It's been a joy.
We're lucky to have you, Claire.
We are very lucky. Yes, our members are very lucky to have you. And as always, if you want to talk to us, just put some time in our diaries. It's online on the website. We're always happy to speak to new people or old people.
The OGs.
Whenever you want to. Yeah, exactly that. All right, over and out. We'll see you next time, everyone.
Thanks, Lou.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's another episode of Retrain Search, the podcast in the bag. Thanks for listening to our wild tales, LinkedIn controversies, and our top tips on how to sell and deliver retained search. Get involved in our next episode. Send in your questions and share your experiences with us by emailing podcast@retrainedsearch.com. And don't be shy. Connect with us on LinkedIn and come and say hi. We don't bite. Unless you're a Shrek firm, that is. We want to say a special thank you to our retrained members for sharing what's working for them right now and innovating new ways to grow and evolve. It's an incredible community. If you're wondering what exactly we mean when we mention our communities, well, we have two separate programs. Our Search Foundations program is for recruiters who want to learn how to sell and deliver retained search solutions consistently. And we have our Search Mastery program. That's for business leaders or owners already at 50% retained or more and looking to scale and grow and structure their search firm. We cap memberships to these programs to protect the integrity of the community. If you want access, just talk to us. Okay, thanks for listening. We'll be back very soon with